First Credit Union Hotline. Happy to have ESPN.com senior writer Chris Lowe joining us on BYU Sports Nation. Chris, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me.
So let's talk a little BYU football. It was fun to see you on the weekly Zoom call for BYU football media availability. I know you're doing a piece on this BYU football team. They're 4-0, depending on the poll you look at, 13th or 14th in the country. What have been your impressions of this BYU football team so far in 2020?
Well, they're a lot of fun to watch play, and I've had a chance to watch them play a couple times now, and they're entertaining. You know, Zach Wilson is a lot of fun to watch play, that offense, and, you know, seeing the way Gunnar Romney has improved. I know they were a little disappointed in the way they played last week, you know, not playing their best football. But you know what? That might be one of those things as they go into this game against Houston on the road that might be the best thing for them. That, especially in this year, the craziest of all years we've seen in college football, that you better be ready to come to play your best football every week. But, no, I think that's the thing that jumps out to me is it's a fun team to watch play.
Well, and they really have played well on both sides of the ball. Obviously, the offense gets a lot of the attention, and specifically Zach Wilson, and you just mentioned him. What about him specifically has caught your eye?
He just looks much more in command of the offense. And, you know, he turned the ball over some last year. I think that was something that they wanted to improve on. And you look this year, he's accounted for 14 touchdowns in his first 4 games and only thrown 1 interception. And just, I talked to Zach yesterday, and he said the game has really slowed down for him. You know, he's seeing things, he's anticipating better. He knows what his answers are when teams throw different things at him. And here's the thing I think that we never can underestimate about a quarterback is he's very confident in the guys around him, and they're very confident in him. You know, they're all on the same page. You can see that. And, you know, if you spend any time around Zach, you talk to Zach, he's such a gregarious guy. He's always talking. He's always wanting to learn more. You know, Gunnar was saying that he's one of those guys that no matter what you're doing, if you're watching a movie or you're just hanging out, he's always talking, always sort of bugging those guys and pushing those guys about football, you know, football-related matters. In fact, Kalani said yesterday, he says, I know the guys around him get tired because the guy never quits thinking about football and how he can get better. And let's be honest, that's the kind of quarterback you want on your team. That's the kind of guy you want to play with.
Zach Wilson is being compared to some pretty impressive college football players. And your ESPN cohort, Mel Kiper, actually has him as the 5th best quarterback right now. You think that's fair right now?
Well, when you look at the legacy of quarterbacks at BYU, first and foremost, you know, I think I know that's something that Zach takes very seriously when he looks back at all the quarterbacks who come before him there in Provo. But yeah, I think he's got he checks all the boxes. He's got a great arm. You know, he's mobile. He can move around. He can make plays. He's good, you know, when things break down. He throws the football well on the run, and he's gotten better. You know, he studies the game. And quarterback, you can't watch enough tape. You can't be into the game enough. And he's certainly done that. And we've seen him take his game to another level this year through 4 games. Now, some of their tougher tests to come, starting with this Houston game. They got Boise State back on the schedule, San Diego State. And, you know, 4 games doesn't make a season, certainly doesn't make a quarterback's resume. But I think to this point, what I've seen from Zach, he's got good size. He's got the measurables. Absolutely. I think he's a guy that will play in the NFL, and there's some teams that will be scrambling to get him.
You mentioned BYU having a tougher schedule coming up, so let's focus on the matchup Friday between the 2 Cougar teams, the red versus the blue. What do you make of this matchup? This is a really important game for both teams, really.
Well, you know, I think it says something about Houston and how explosive they are on offense. So they can turn the ball over that many times and still score 40-plus points. But if you follow Dana Holgerson's career and his ability to generate points and move the football as offensive coordinator, as head coach, it shouldn't be surprising. That's what he's done everywhere he's been. And I think defensively, BYU's got to play its best football game. They got to take the ball away. You can't give a Houston offense, certainly one run under Dana Holgerson, a lot of possessions. You let them drive the football. You know, the more possessions you give them, you know, the tougher it is going to be to beat them. So I think taking the ball away, winning in special teams, making a few plays in special teams, putting them in tough situations, maybe backing them up and not giving them a lot of plus field situations will be big for BYU. But it's a game that that I'm very interested in watching play. I don't know how much you know about Houston. If you're BYU and Kalani Sitake and that staff, you've got one game of tape to watch on them. Now, the flip side of that is, and you saw this with the turnovers last week from Houston, how ready to play is Houston? A physical, because when you don't play football and you go long periods of time and don't play, and certainly none of the teams around the country have had a lot of practice time together on the practice field, the things that typically show up are the physical things, being able to tackle well, holding on to the football, securing the football, and blocking, being able to make plays in space, both on offense and defense. And I think that's where BYU will have a little bit of an advantage because they played 4 games and Houston's only played 1.
One of the hot topics out here, and we've asked a lot of people this question, and I'm curious where you fall in this argument. With BYU's schedule, and it's certainly not the one that they intended to play this year, but if BYU were to go undefeated with this schedule, where do you fall in the argument of whether or not they should be included in the New Year's Six Bowls or the college football playoff?
That's one of the topics that I'm addressing in the piece I'm doing for ESPN. I think there's 3 teams right now that the ESPN's FBI index favors or says has more of a chance to go unbeaten than BYU: Ohio State, Clemson, and Marshall. So other than those 3 teams, our metric says that BYU has as good a chance as anybody to go unbeaten. Now, they still got to go out there and do it. But if they were to go 10-0, I don't think there's much chance that they're going to be in a college football playoff talk just because their schedule strength is going to be one of those things that the committee looks at and says, now we're weighing that against some of these schedules that Ohio State or Clemson or Bama or, Florida, whoever, it's going to be tough to sort of get in that conversation. I get that. Now, if they were playing their original schedule and were to finish unbeaten, I think it's a much different story. But, BYU can't help that. The fact that they're playing football. Hey, listen, the fact that we're playing football, period, is a blessing.
Yep.
But a New Year's Six Bowl, I think, is more realistic. I think if they go 10-0, and you look at that schedule, and I asked Zach this very question, and he even said, listen, I think it's sort of how we get there. If we're fortunate enough to win all of our games, how do we look? How dominant are we? Are we putting up a lot of points? Are we the kind of team that you come away from the game saying, boy, the way they played, they look like a top 10 team, a top 5 team. I think that, to me, probably, you hate to talk about style points, but it's not only going 10-0, I think it would be going 10-0 and being very impressive. And if they do that, and they had the little hiccup last week, but they still won. If they do that, then I think they're right there in the center of the conversation to be in a New Year's Six Bowl, and I think they should be.
Obviously, BYU still has some open dates towards the end of the year, and Tom Holmoe is basically in waiting mode just to see if there are opportunities to add games. Do you think BYU needs to add another quality opponent? And obviously, you'd have to win it, but would that, I don't want to say legitimize it, but at least give them a better chance of going to a New Year's Six Bowl?
It wouldn't hurt. And, I think Tom, deference to Zach and some of those guys on defense, Tom might be the MVP right now of that program, putting the schedule back together. They had 3 games at one point in August when all the conferences started dropping out. The Mountain West, everybody started saying, we're not going to play football. They're sitting there with 3 football games. And I think that says a lot about Kalani and his leadership, the players on this team, that they continue to believe, they continue to work hard, that we're going to have some football, and didn't let it become a distraction. And Tom sort of scrambling behind the scenes to put games together and put a schedule together. So kudos to him for doing that. But no, I think that they can add another game. I know there was, the Army game, and that was a disappointment that one sort of fell by the wayside. Is there a chance to maybe play Army again? But I think anybody they can add to the schedule, another game, and certainly, if it's a team that resonates, let's use Boise State as an example, Houston as an example, then that certainly won't hurt their cause.
A couple more minutes with ESPN's Chris Lowe here on BYU Sports Nation. Chris, yesterday there was a D1 survey released, and some of the results in that, I guess 61% of Power 5 schools said they would be in favor of breaking away from the NCAA, essentially forming their own governing body in their own division. We've heard about this for a long, long time. It is something that may or may not be a possibility. Do you think that's realistic? How realistic do you think that actually is in the future?
We've heard talk like that for a while, that at some point that the big boys, a certain group of teams, I say the big boys, certain group of teams break away and do their own thing. Right now, when you look at college football, outside of being the enforcement arm, how involved is the NCAA? I mean, they don't control the college football playoff, the bowl games. So yes, they are, as I said, the enforcement branch of the rules. So I would have questions along those lines. If you do indeed break off, who's going to be that enforcement arm? Is it still going to be the NCAA? I think we'll see some semblance of it. Will we ever see, at least I say ever is a long time, will we see anytime soon these teams, these schools completely breaking away from the NCAA and doing their own thing? I don't think it's coming anytime soon. But I think there'll continue to be conversation about that. And really, you already see that, again, with regard to the playoff, because the NCAA has no say in the playoff. And I do think at some point, put it this way, I think you will see an expanded playoff much sooner than you'll see all these teams break away.
Let's stay with one more big picture college football question. When you look at all the teams that have played and in the first almost 2 months of the season, who's been your biggest surprise and your biggest disappointment in college football?
Probably the biggest disappointment is probably LSU. That they just, you're talking about the defending national champion, a team that arguably had one of the greatest seasons in recent college football history last year, and put up numbers like crazy. But to be fair, they lost so much. They lost so much to the NFL. They had several opt-outs. But defensively, they looked like a train wreck. And to lose to Missouri the way they did, and then this last week, giving up as many yards and as many points, they've recruited too well. And I think Ed Ogeron has said that to look like they have. So, unless they get things turned around, you're probably looking at a situation where the defending national champion has as big a drop-off in the next year as we've ever seen. My surprise, I don't know. I think you look at what Louisiana has done, and you talk about a group of 5 team that knocked off Iowa State to start the season, and they're unbeaten. They, like a BYU, I think have a chance to maybe go unbeaten. And if they were to do that, now they're in a conference, how seriously would they be taken? They would be right up there. I think in that category, that conversation is the team that's been most surprising in a good way. I look in the SEC, and even though their record isn't great, has anybody done a better coaching job at this point than Sam Pittman and that staff at Arkansas?
Yeah.
That's a school that had lost 20 straight SEC games, and they really sort of got robbed last week against Auburn. That's a game that was sort of yanked out from under them. And to have already beaten the team they did, and playing Georgia as tough as they did, knowing that personnel, I mean, the new staff, you had hardly no time to work with, the team and you put in your system, and yet they've been as good and as competitive as they've been. I think when you look, again, if you don't just look at the record, Arkansas maybe has done, the staff and the players have done as good a job as anybody.
Chris, to further prove that there are BYU fans everywhere, you actually have a neighbor that is at BYU right now, right?
Absolutely. Jessica Matheson, a freshman there. And Jessica's not the biggest football fan, but every time the Cougars play, I text her. I talk to her mom, Carrie, saying, make sure Jessica knows that the Cougars are playing. I think she's been a little bummed, her and her roommate Macy, that they haven't been able to go to games yet because there have been no students there. But I think at some point they're going to let students back in, and I can promise you she'll be there front and center.
Good stuff. Chris, thank you so much for taking a few minutes. I know BYU fans will look forward to your piece coming out on ESPN.com about BYU. We appreciate you taking a few minutes, and enjoy the rest of the college football season.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to getting back out there soon.
You bet. There we go. Chris Lowe, ESPN senior writer, joining us on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.